The future of Caleb Williams is in jeopardy and nobody's talking about it. A decision Ryan Poles made on draft day might be costing us big time right now. But that's not all. Because there's also a bombshell proposal that could totally reshape our backfield and give our rookie quarterback the weapon they need. Meanwhile, Chicago's making quiet moves that could define our week against the Raiders. Stick around until the end, because what I'm going to reveal about our draft picks will leave you speechless. Hit like right now and subscribe, because this information is exclusive. I can't believe what's happening with our offensive line right now. Darnell Wright is out with an elbow injury, and do you know who's going to protect Caleb Williams' right side against one of the NFL's most lethal pass rushers? Theo Bennett. And listen to me, it's nothing personal against Bennett. That guy's been grinding hard since joining as an undrafted free agent. He was the star of Hard Knocks last year, and I respect his hustle. But here's what really gets me fired up. Remember when we were all celebrating the second-round pick of Ozzie Trapilo? Here's the thing. That draft pick was supposed to be our answer for the offensive line. We all thought Ryan Poles had finally found the missing piece to protect our franchise quarterback. But now it turns out Bennett, AUDFA, is ahead of our second-round draft pick from last year. Do you understand the implications of this? It means Poles made a mistake, and it wasn't a small one. Don't get me wrong, Bennett is a good player. He's 6'5", 320 pounds, comes from Northern Illinois, knows the Midwest, understands what playing football in Chicago wind and cold means. But if your second-rounder, who was supposed to be NFL ready from day one, can't beat out AUDFA after a full year in the coaching system, that's a big problem. Our offensive coordinator Ben Johnson says Bennett commits to fundamentals and plays with low pad level. Great. Love hearing that. But what the heck happened to Trapilo? This guy came out of Boston College with solid credentials. In his last year at BC, he allowed just 3 sacks in 13 games. 3 sacks. And now he can't protect either left or right. And you know what's most frustrating? We had to shift Trapilo from left tackle to right tackle because he didn't work out on the left. How many times have we seen this movie in Chicago? Remember Gabe Karimi? Remember Kyle Long constantly having to change positions? This organization has a history of not developing its offensive line properly. And it seems like we're repeating the same mistakes. Luther Burden III, our second-round pick, already had his first 100-yard receiving game against Dallas. Shamar Turner, another second-round pick, is showing bright flashes on the D-line, making impacts on third downs. But Trapilo, who started training camp with the best chance to contribute immediately, now looks even farther from any of our other second-rounders in making a real impact. And you know what's crazier? We're up against Max Crosby on Sunday. That guy is an absolute beast. In the first 3 weeks of the season, he already has 4 sacks, 12 QB hits, and is averaging to 0.3 tackles for loss per game. And our right side protection will be in the hands of a guy who, while I admire his work ethic, wasn't the original plan to face elite pass rushers. Let me give you some perspective here. The Packers, those damn Packers we hate so much, developed Elgton Jenkins from the 5th round in 2019, and he's now one of the best guards in the NFL. The Vikings turned Christian Darrisaw from a first-round pick in 2021 into a Pro Bowler. And we have a second-round pick that can't win the job over a UDFA. But here's the real worrying part. If Trapilo can't earn minutes now, when will he? What if Wright is injured longer? What if Braxton Jones, who's already had consistency issues, gets hurt? Are we going to keep relying on undrafted free agents and low-cost veterans, while our draft picks sit on the bench watching the days go by? This leads me to a deeper question about Ryan Poles' talent evaluation. Was Trapilo a pick based on long-term potential, or did we think he could contribute immediately? Because if it was the latter, we were clearly wrong. And if it was the former, why didn't we take someone more NFL ready in the second round when we knew we'd need immediate help on the O-line? I think this situation exposes a systemic problem in how we're developing offensive players in Chicago. We've had issues developing the O-line for decades. Since Olin Kreutz left in 2011, how many offensive linemen have we internally developed to have solid, long-term careers? I can count them on one hand. If that surprises you, wait until you hear this. There's a trade proposal rumored that could completely change the offensive course of the Chicago Bears. Matt Johnson from Sports Not is suggesting we bring in Alvin Kamara, 5-time Pro Bowler, from New Orleans. And you know what? I think this proposal makes more sense than people realize. The proposal is as follows. The Bears send a third-round pick in 2026 and Roshan Johnson in exchange for Alvin Kamara. On paper, it sounds like a lot, but let me explain why this could be great for Chicago. First, let's analyze the Saints' situation. New Orleans is in absolute salary cap hell. They are $76 million over the projected cap for 2025. $76 million. Derek Carr has a cap hit of $51.8 million next year. Alvin Kamara has a cap hit of $29.4 million in 2025 and $31.9 million in 2026. Those numbers are unsustainable for a team that needs to rebuild. And you know what else? The Saints started to 1, but we all know that streak won't last. Their defense is ranked 29th in yards allowed per game. Their offensive line is in shambles. Spencer Rattler's going to be playing quarterback because Derek Carr got hurt. That team will collapse before Thanksgiving. When they realize their season is lost, they'll need to start selling assets. And Kamara, at 30 years old, with a massive contract, will be the first piece they'll want to move. A third-round pick in 2026 and Roshan Johnson. That could be a steal for us. But let's examine the sports aspect of this trade. DeAndre Swift has been decent. He's averaging 4.2 yards per carry, which isn't bad, but is decent enough for a team trying to maximize Caleb Williams' rookie year. I'm telling you, IT's not enough. Kamara offers something Swift doesn't: superior vision as a runner and elite versatility as a receiver. In 2023, despite being on a dysfunctional team, Kamara had 1,654 yards from scrimmage, 1,654, and 65 receptions. Swift, in his best season in Detroit in 2022, had 1,189 yards from scrimmage, and in Ben Johnson's system, Kamara would fit perfectly. Johnson loves using two-back formations, pre-snap motion, creating matchup nightmares with running backs who can flex to the slot. Kamara's done that his entire career. In New Orleans, he regularly ran routes from the slot, from the backfield, motion out wide. Compare that to what we have now. Swift is more of a north-south runner. Roshan Johnson is a power back for short situations. But neither has Kamara's versatility as a receiver out of the backfield. And you know what's the smartest part of this proposal? The timing. Kamara is signed through 2026, so he wouldn't be a half-season rental. Swift will likely be cut after this season anyway, because there's an $8.5 million cap savings if we cut him. Basically, we'd be swapping a third-rounder and Roshan Johnson for 2 years of a 5-time Pro Bowler. Running back. But here's my deeper analysis. Does this trade really make us significantly better? Kamara is 30 years old. He's not the explosive player he was from 2017 to 2019. His numbers have declined every year since 2020. In 2023, he averaged just 4.0 yards per carry, his lowest average since his rookie year. However, there's something Kamara still does at an elite level: reading defenses. Swift has more pure athleticism, but Kamara has better football IQ. When you watch his highlights, you see a runner who knows exactly when to cut, when to be patient behind blockers, when to burst through gaps. That experience and instinct could be exactly what Caleb Williams needs in their backfield. And you know what excites me more? The possibility of having Swift and Kamara together. Imagine the formations Ben Johnson could create with two running backs who can damage both running and receiving. Motion Kamara to the slot, keep Swift in the backfield. Create confusion for the defense about who's going to get the ball. The Lions, when Johnson was their offensive coordinator, consistently used two back sets with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. And now we could have an upgraded version of that with Swift and Kamara. But here comes the million-dollar question. Is Ryan Poles going to make this move? Johnson thinks Chicago probably wouldn't, but I'm not so sure. Poles has shown he's willing to make aggressive trades when he thinks it can help the team. Look at the DJ Moore trade. Look how he moved in the draft to select Caleb Williams. If Poles sees this trade can give Williams another dynamic weapon, especially considering our receiving core still has questions after DJ Moore, I think he might surprise us and pull the trigger. But here's the craziest part. While we're all debating trades and injuries, the Chicago Bears are making quiet moves that could be the difference between winning and losing against the Raiders. Carl Jones Jr. has been promoted from the practice squad to the active roster. Jonathan Ford is being elevated for Sunday's game. And Steven Carlson is also moving up because our rookie tight end Colston Loveland is out with a hip injury. Let me tell you why these seemingly minor moves are more important than people realize. Starting with Carl Jones Jr., this guy came as a UDFA from Miami, and Ben Johnson sees something special in him. How do I know? Because you don't promote a linebacker from the practice squad to the 53-man roster unless you believe he can contribute immediately. Jones Jr. measured 6'2", 230 pounds at his pro day, ran a for 50 to 40, had a 35-inch vertical jump. Those are athlete numbers. But more important than that, at Miami, he recorded 68 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks in his last year. Do you know what that tells me? That this guy has instincts to find the football. And against the Raiders, we need all the speed and athleticism possible at linebacker. Davante Adams, while struggling with quarterback chemistry, remains one of the best route runners in the NFL. Brock Bowers, their rookie tight end, is already showing why he was a first-round pick. Jacoby Myers from the slot can create problems. Jones Jr. could be exactly the coverage linebacker we need. Now let's talk Jonathan Ford. This is the promotion that excites me the most. Ford is 25 years old, arrived as a 7th rounder from the Packers in 2022. And guess what those damn Packers did? They cut him. But Ryan Poles, who has an excellent eye for finding discarded talent, picked him up and put him on our practice squad. Ford measured 6'3", 285 pounds, and in his last year at Miami, recorded 60 total tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 1 pass deflected over 31 college games. But here's what I like. In the 4 games he played for us last year, he recorded 9 tackles. That's more than 2 tackles per game as a rotational player. And why do we need Ford this Sunday? Because the Raiders have an offensive line that can be exploited. Their left tackle Colton Miller is solid, but the rest of their line has been inconsistent. If we can create pressure from the interior, with Ford rotating with our starting defensive tackles, we could force Spencer Rattler or whoever their quarterback is into bad decisions. Let me give you this defensive context. Our main defensive line has been performing well, but depth is always crucial, especially against a team like Las Vegas that likes to run the football with Josh Jacobs and their power scheme. Ford gives us that rotational piece that can keep our starters fresh while still maintaining pressure. And then there's the situation with Steven Carlson. Colston Loveland is out with a hip injury, which is frustrating because this guy has been showing real promise as a rookie. Loveland was a 2nd-round pick from Michigan, stands 6'5", 245 pounds, and in his first college year had already shown flashes of being a mismatch weapon for Caleb Williams. But Carlson stepping up doesn't worry me much. This veteran knows what he's doing. He's been in the league since 2018, played for Kansas City, the Giants, now with us. Stands 6'3", 250 pounds, and although he doesn't have Loveland's upside, he understands how to find soft spots in zone coverage and how to be a reliable target in short yardage situations. But here's my deeper analysis on these moves. These are not desperate moves. These are smart and proactive moves. Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles are anticipating needs before they become crises. Remember previous years when we waited until players got injured to make adjustments? Remember when we depended on washed-up veterans or practice squad players who weren't ready? This management is different. Jones Jr. being promoted tells me they've been developing him specifically for situations like this. Ford being elevated tells me they see an opportunity for him to contribute against an offensive line that can be attacked. Carlson coming up tells me they have confidence in his ability to fill in seamlessly. And you know what I like the most about all this? It shows depth. For the first time in years, we feel like we have players on the practice squad who might actually contribute if called upon. It's not panic mode. It's strategic depth management. The Raiders think they can come into Soldier Field and handle a Bears team that's still developing. But these moves tell me we're more prepared than what meets the eye. Jones Jr. could give us speed and coverage. Ford could give us pass rush from the interior. Carlson could give us reliability and short yardage. I think these small moves could end up being the difference in a close game. Las Vegas has talent, but if our depth players can contribute in key moments, if they can make 1 or 2 plays that change field position or create turnovers, we could walk out of that game with a statement victory. Bears fans, I need to know what you think in the comments right now. Do you believe Theo Benedette can really protect Caleb Williams against an elite pass rusher like Max Crosby? Or should we be genuinely worried that our 2nd-round pick Ozzy Trapilo isn't ready to contribute yet? Tell me if you think Ryan Poles made an evaluation mistake or if he needs more time to develop. And what about the proposed trade for Alvin Kamara? Would you make that trade giving up a third-round pick in 2026? And Roshan Johnson for 2 years of a 5-time Pro Bowler? Or do you think Kamara is already declining and it would be better to keep our draft picks to build through the draft? What do you expect from Carl Jones Jr., Jonathan Ford, and Steven Carlson in their opportunities against the Raiders? Do you think these practice squad call-ups can really make an impact? Or are we asking too much from unproven players? But more important than all those questions, I want you to join this growing family of Bears fans every day. If you made it here, if you stuck through all this in-depth analysis, it's because you really love this team as much as I do. If you want to keep getting this kind of exclusive, in-depth analysis that you won't find anywhere else, I need you to hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video if you think Ryan Poles needs to be more aggressive in making moves to protect Caleb Williams. Subscribe if you want to be part of the most passionate Bears community on YouTube. And let me know in the comments which of these 3 stories has you more excited or worried for the rest of the season. Because at the end of the day, we're a family. We're Bears fans through thick and thin. And together, we're going to experience every moment of this season. That could potentially change Chicago's history forever. This city deserves a championship. Caleb Williams deserves the best supporting cast possible. And we as fans deserve transparency and real analysis about what's happening with our team. Bear down, family, and see you in the next video where we'll break down everything that happens this weekend. Da Bears!